My name is Vorath Kline, and I am what you would call a Xenoarchaeologist. Well, technically, I was a Xenoarchaeologist, past tense, because what I found in Sector Gamma 917 changed everything, and the Galactic Council, they would very much prefer I had never found it at all. You see, the thing about forbidden knowledge is this: it is only forbidden because someone somewhere desperately wants you to stay ignorant. And oh, how desperately they wanted us to stay ignorant about Eidothea. It started 3 cycles ago. I was cataloguing dead worlds, which is exactly as thrilling as it sounds. Rock after rock, dust after dust, the occasional fossilized microbe, if I was lucky. But then I detected something on a planet designated only as Mortis 7. The readings were wrong. Not just unusual. Wrong. Energy signatures that should not exist anymore, should not have ever existed, if you believed the official histories. My research partner, a Velkari named Taurin Vex, thought I had finally cracked under the pressure of staring at dead planets for 15 years. Vorath, he said, his 3 eyes blinking in that way, that meant he thought I was being ridiculous. There is nothing out here. There has never been anything out here. This sector was sterilized 30,000 years ago, during the Cleansing Wars. Ah yes, the Cleansing Wars. The official version goes like this: a rogue AI collective threatened the galaxy, the noble species of the old councils banded together, defeated the machines, sterilized the infected sectors, everyone lived happily ever after. Very neat, very tidy, very, very wrong. Then explain the power readings, I said, pointing at my scanner. The numbers were climbing. Whatever was down there, it was still active, still functioning. After 30,000 years, Taurin's tail went rigid. In Velkari body language, that meant either extreme fear or extreme excitement, possibly both. That is impossible. Impossible seems to be having a very good day today, I replied, already plotting our descent vector. The surface of Mortis 7 was exactly what you would expect from a sterilized world, grey, lifeless, covered in glassed-over craters where orbital bombardments had turned entire continents into smooth obsidian plains. But beneath it was something the galaxy had tried very, very hard to erase. We found the entrance 3 kilometers below the surface. Not a natural cave. No, this was constructed. Precision-cut corridors that stretched down into darkness, lined with material that our scanners could not identify. And here is where things get interesting. The material was absorbing energy, not reflecting it, not conducting it, absorbing it, like it was hungry. We should report this, Taurin said, his voice getting that high-pitched quality it always did when he was nervous. Report what, exactly? I asked. An anomaly on a dead world? They will file it under irrelevant findings and forget about it by morning meal. That was when we heard it. A sound. Faint, rhythmic, coming from deeper in the complex. It sounded almost like. Taurin grabbed my arm. Tell me you heard that too. Oh, I heard it, I said. And I am absolutely going to investigate it, because apparently I make terrible life choices. The corridor opened into a chamber. Not a small chamber. No, this was a space large enough to house a battle cruiser, carved from solid bedrock, with walls covered in symbols that made my head hurt just looking at them. And in the center stood a monolith. Black, perfectly smooth, roughly 3 meters tall, and pulsing. Actually pulsing, with a rhythm that matched the breathing sound we had heard. What is it? Taurin whispered. I have absolutely no idea, I admitted. But look at the base. There were inscriptions, not in any language I recognized, but my translation matrix started working anyway, pulling meaning from context, from pattern recognition, from sources I did not even know it had access to. The words formed slowly. Here lies the truth that must not be known. Here rests Eidothea, architects of ascension, masters of the material and immaterial. They who taught the young races to reach for the stars. They who were destroyed for their gift. Architects of ascension. Taurin read over my shoulder. I have never heard of any species called Eidothea. Exactly, I said quietly. which means someone went through a lot of trouble to make sure you never would. The monolith pulsed brighter. Once. Twice. And then, as if it had been waiting for us all along, it opened. Not physically. No hinges, no doorways, nothing so crude. It simply opened. Like reality itself was peeling back to show us what lay beneath. And what lay beneath was a recording. Holographic. Impossibly detailed. Showing a species I had never seen before. They looked almost human. Bipedal. 2 arms. 2 legs. But their eyes burned with light that was not quite natural. And they were speaking. My translator kicked in again. If you are seeing this, then the Concordat has failed. The truth has survived. Good. You deserve to know what they took from you. You deserve to know what we died trying to give you. The figure in the recording stepped forward, and I swear, even though it was just a hologram, I felt the weight of its gaze. We are Eidothea. We are the ones who came before. We are the ones who uplifted you, who gave you fire and fusion and faster-than-light travel. We are the ones who showed you the stars were not limits, but invitations. Another pulse. Brighter now. And we are the ones the Concordat murdered, because we committed the ultimate sin. Torin and I looked at each other. What sin? He breathed. The hologram smiled. It was not a nice smile. We told you the truth about what humanity really was. The recording continued, and honestly, I wish it had not. You want to know what humanity is? The Eidothean figure asked, though we had not said a word. Not what they tell you. Not the primitive deathworlders who stumbled into space on chemical rockets and nuclear fire. No, the real truth. Torin was shaking now. Actually shaking. Vorath. Maybe we should leave. Maybe we should forget we ever saw this. Too late for that, I muttered, because the monolith had sealed the chamber behind us. Of course it had. Because why would anything about this day be simple? The hologram shifted, showing star maps I recognized. The Orion Arm, Sol System, Earth. But the dates were all wrong. The timestamps showed human civilization existing not 3,000 years ago, but 300,000 years ago. Advanced, spacefaring, impossibly developed. The humans you know today, the Eidothean continued. They are not the first iteration. They are the 4th, maybe the 5th. The Concordat keeps resetting them, you see. Every time humanity reaches a certain threshold of development, every time they start asking the right questions, the Concordat wipes them clean and starts over. That is insane, I said. Why would anyone do that? The hologram's expression turned grim. Because humans are not from Earth. They never were. Earth is a prison. A very carefully maintained prison, designed to keep the most dangerous species in galactic history contained, controlled, and ignorant of what they truly are. Torin made a sound that was somewhere between a laugh and a scream. Humans? Dangerous? Have you seen them? They barely survived their own industrial revolution. They nearly wiped themselves out with primitive nuclear weapons. They are barely holding their own colony worlds together. Exactly, the Eidothean said. That is the point. That is what the Concordat does to them, over and over again. Keeps them weak. Keeps them fighting among themselves. Keeps them from remembering. Remembering what? I demanded. The hologram changed again. This time, it showed a fleet. Not just any fleet. A human fleet. But these ships made our modern dreadnoughts look like children's toys. Vessels the size of moons, bristling with weapons that bent physics itself, crackling with energy that could ignite stars or snuff them out. Humanity's true nature, the Eidothean answered. They are conquerors, not in the brutal, crude sense that the Korthax Empire conquers. No, humans conquer ideas. They take concepts that should be impossible and make them work through sheer bloody-minded refusal to accept limitations. They adapt, they improvise, they overcome, and worst of all from the Concordat's perspective, they inspire. The recording showed other species, dozens of them, hundreds, all rallying behind human leadership, human innovation, human determination. We Eidotheans were the first to ally with them, the figure continued. We saw their potential, We helped them ascend. We taught them the secrets of dimensional folding, of consciousness transfer, of matter resequencing, and together, we were unstoppable. We brought peace to a quarter of the galaxy. Real peace. Not the enforced stagnation the Concordat calls peace, but actual cooperation between free species. So what happened? I asked, even though I was starting to suspect I knew the answer. The old powers got scared, the Eidothean said simply. The Velkari, the Korthax, the Nemorians, the ancient species who had ruled the galaxy for millions of years, who had grown comfortable in their positions of authority. They saw humans and their allies as a threat, not a military threat, though we certainly could have been. No, a philosophical threat. Because humans ask a very dangerous question. What question? Torin whispered. The hologram leaned forward, and its burning eyes seemed to look directly at us. Why not? Silence filled the chamber. Heavy, oppressive, terrifying. Why not try this? Why not attempt that? Why not reach further? Push harder, demand more from the universe. Humans do not accept the status quo. Ever. They are fundamentally, genetically, spiritually incapable of leaving well enough alone. And that terrifies species who have spent millions of years perfecting the art of staying exactly where they are. The recording shifted one final time, showing a battle. The Concordats combined fleets against humanity and Eidothea. It was not even close. Humanity was winning, easily, until they used the reset protocol. The Eidothean said quietly, a weapon that does not destroy matter. It destroys information, memory, culture, technology. It erases civilization itself, leaving only the biological remnants behind. They used it on Earth. They used it on all human worlds. And they used it on us, for the crime of helping them. The hologram flickered. This recording is the last fragment of Eidothean existence. This monolith buried here, shielded by technology the Concordat could not fully erase. We left it as a warning, as a testament, because one day, eventually, humanity will remember. They always do. It is in their nature. And when they remember, the figure smiled again. That same terrible smile. The galaxy will burn. Not with hate, not with rage, but with questions. Why did you do this to us? Why did you fear us? And most dangerous of all, why should we forgive you? The recording ended. The monolith went dark. The chamber's entrance unsealed. Torin looked at me with all three eyes wide. What do we do? I stared at the now silent monolith for a long moment. Then I pulled out my data recorder and started copying everything. Every symbol, every reading, every impossible word. We do what the Eidotheans did, I said. We tell the truth. Even if it costs us everything, the Concordat will kill us, Torin said flatly. Probably, I agreed. But here is the thing about truth, my friend. You can bury it. You can burn it. You can reset entire civilizations to hide it. But sooner or later, it digs its way back out. And when it does, I looked at the monolith one last time. Well, I suspect the humans are going to have some very pointed questions for the Galactic Council, and somewhere on a little blue planet orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, humanity continued its slow, stumbling climb back toward remembering what it had forgotten, what it had always been, what it would be again.